Om Song Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste. This evening we're going to discuss the Annaprashan, the taking of the first solid food, and we begin with finding an appropriate day according to astrological calculations. Father will complete his nitya karma. That means his puja, pat, homa, whatever his regular sankalpa is, and then he should take the sankalpa, the shanti swasti vachan, perform Ganesh and the 16 mothers puja, the Brid, the Shraddh and Tarpan, and establish the fire in the Yajna Kund. So here we've got a puja and a homa. We're all ready to begin. And now he begins with Om Pranaya Twang Jushtang Grindami. Om Pranaya Twang Jushtang Nirvapayami. Om Pranaya Twang Jushtang Prokshayami. Om Chachushe Twam. Om Srotraya Twam. Om Agnaye Swishtakritwe Tej Twam. And now we perform our Gi Homa. And we'll want to make home of Gayatri mantra. Remember Om Bhur Bhuva Swa. The infinite beyond conception, the gross body, the subtle body, the causal body. Tatsavitur Varenyam. We meditate upon that light of wisdom, which is the highest wealth of the gods. Dio Yona Prachodayat. Give to us continuous increase, and that's our homa and our Gi Homa. And then we're going to make offering of the food. And we'll make offering of the food into the fire with the mantra. First of all, we'll offer the food. Shatapatra Sudasu Habir Bibi Dane Kamakshanam Nivedayami Devi Sasarva Tripti Karabram Annapurna Sadapurne Shankara Pranapalabe Gyana Vairagya Siddhartam Bhikshande Kicha Parvati Mata Cha Parvati Devi Pita Devo Makeshwara Bandavasi Babaktas Jaspadeshu Bhuvanatrakam. And we'll make this offering of the food, and we'll offer that food into the fire. And mostly for Annaprashan, we use rice pudding, a little sweet kheer, a little rice cooked in milk and sweetened to taste, a little ghee and a little honey and a little sugar. And we say Om Devim Vachamajayanta Devastam Vishvarupaha Pashavo Badayan Badanti Sado Madresha Murjang Duhana Tinirvagasmandasa Tupestistida Swaha Om Bajo Nodya Pasurati Tanam Bajo Divan Prabhuviti Kartra Kapayanti Bajo Imam Sarva Biram Chakara Sarva Asha Vajapati Jaye Yam Swaha. Do you know we're filling you with the energy of nourishment so that we can sustain your body and create heroism within you so that you will do good things with good energy and a good way. Make your contribution to this world and make this world a better place because of your having been here. And we're praying to the goddess, we're praying to the gods, we're praying that all the Shakti come into this child and let this child exemplify that heroism, that heroic attitude that makes this world better. Now we're going to make a Mahabhyariti Homa. And we're going to say Om Bhu Swaha, Om Bhuva Swaha, Om Swa Swaha, Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Swaha. now we have Om Pranenanamasya Swaha, Om Apanena Gamdananasya Swaha, Om Chakshusha Rupa Yasya Swaha, Om Srotrena Yashosya Swaha, Om Brahma Ke Sparsha Koryama, Om Agnaye Swishtakrite Swaha. And now we're going to take the rice pudding and put it into 2 bowls, and we're going to take that prasad from the fire, and we're going to give one for all the animals in the forest, and the other we're going to take 5 spoonfuls, and we're going to say Om Pranaya Swaha, and feed the child 1 spoonful. Om Apanaya Swaha, and feed the child a 2nd spoonful. Om Samanaya Swaha, and feed the child a 3rd spoonful. Om Udanaya Swaha, and feed the child a 4th spoonful. Om Dhyanaya Swaha, and feed the 5th spoonful. And those 5 spoonfuls become the first feeding of solid food to the child. And that is a mantra that is very, very common. Every time we say our prayer, we say for food, for the offering of food, or for the partaking of food. I am taking this food on behalf of Prana, Apana, Dhyana, Udana, Samana. And the 5 Panchapran, the 5 vital breaths. These are the cause of bringing food and nourishment into our bodies. We are for prana inhalation, apana exhalation, udana bringing the breath up, dhyana bringing the breath out, and samana holding it still in equilibrium. So these are the Panchapran. And now we're going to make a thali, a plate, a platter, and we're going to put some gold or money or coins, whatever you think appropriate, and some food grains, a book, and a pen, and we're going to hold that thali in front of the child and see what she or he grabs first. And whatever the child is attracted to first will be the basic interest. So that'll be the basic expression, the way that the child wants to move first, her direction in life. Whether she'll be attracted to wealth, or whether she'll be attracted to commerce, to literature, to writing, to accounts. Sometimes we take a piece of mud or earth and place it there too. Whether she'll be a child of the soil, or whether she'll be someone who raises food or works with livestock. These will be the basic interests of the child. And now we're going to make Purnahuti, we'll give Dakshina, we'll perform Arati and Pranam and give everybody blessings. And these are the system of worship with Annaprashan. Now you can readily tell that we made it a little bit Sankshipta, and that's what all of this is doing. It says, okay, make your Nitya Karma. Sankshipta means abbreviated. It says, make your Nitya Karma. That means perform your puja, assuming that you already always do the cosmic puja in entirety every day. Then it says, okay, take the sankalpa for the Annaprashan Brat, and then light this as the divine fire. It assumes that you already do the advanced Shiva Yagya every day. And then it says, okay, make Gayatri a Homa, and you can use the Sahasranam, or you can use 1,000 times the Gayatri mantra. You could do 108 times the Gayatri mantra. You could invite all the gods. You want Ganesh Adi, Shorash Matrika. You can do the Briddha Shrad. You can do the Tarpan. You can do all of the necessary rites first. Okay, that's given. Now, these are special mantras which occur in Annaprashan. And so that's how we're proceeding with this study, as, assuming that you've already completed the courses on Cosmic Puja, you've already completed the courses on the Yagya, you've already completed the courses on Gayatri. Then, now, this is our starting point. We're going to do these sanskars because, look, we're giving solid food to the child. And now, the child is no longer dependent only on mother's milk. That means the child is a member of the community. The child is sufficient within the community to be away from mother. And other members, namely father and others, can step forward and take over the necessary functions to provide nourishment and sustenance to the child. So now the relationship between father and child becomes as secure or as empowering as the relationship between mother and child. Now the child is independent from the mother, so she can take one step back. She gets a little more rest. Father gets a little more interaction with the child. They both get to clean a little bit more as the child throws food all over the place. And the child is an individual, a member of the family. He or she has her own name. She or he has their own attitude. Now we're ready to begin nurturing the child and empowering the child to greater forms of karma, greater forms of action. Let's see, we have some questions here. Who should feed the baby the first solid food, mother or father? And this is a choice in the family, and oftentimes grandfather will do it, oftentimes guru will do it. It may be father who does it, it may be mother who does it, although she's been feeding the child for a long time. Since inception, she may like to give up that role for a moment or two and say, okay, let someone else have the responsibility. When should solid food be introduced? And we just said, usually when it's at the end of 6 months, when the child's 6 months of age, we introduce solid food. Let's see, when should the mother wean the baby from the breast? And this is all individual achara. This is the behavior, the custom of each individual family. I've seen children up to 4 and 5 years of age still suckling at their mother's breast. This is all a personal decision. It is not legislated through scripture. Ambika asked, does a mother need to say all the food blessings if she is nursing the baby, or is the food already blessed since it is coming from within her body? And the answer is, you want to say all the blessings all the time, as much as you can, and then reach inside and pull out some more blessings. Ambika, do not hesitate to say a blessing and to communicate that blessing to your child. I am giving you devotion and I am giving you wisdom, and please feel yourself empowered to take the devotion and the wisdom and to create something great. You feel yourself empowered. I am blessing you. Your father is blessing you. Your family is blessing you. Your guru is blessing you. These are the mantras with which we bless you. Be blessed. That's the empowerment we want to give to that child. Yesterday we performed a Kumari Puja, and this Kumari was so blessed that she blessed all of us. She was so blessed by her family and by her community and by her congregation that when she came into the Devi Mandir, she was already a Devi. In fact, the child's name was Devi. And this Devi acted like a Devi, and she was giving blessings. And she gave peace, and she gave wisdom, and she gave love eternally. And she knew, and she was only just turned 5 years of age. And she knew how to give the blessing. Please, Ambika, don't hesitate to give a blessing. Don't hesitate to get a blessing. Wherever you go, whatever you do, give the blessing and take the blessing. Then you'll live a blessed life. Let's see if Nanda has any questions about Annaprashan. Yes, please. Namaste, Dan. Yes, Dan, that's just what we do. We take this bowl of rice pudding, a kheer, this nutritious, sweet, loving, joyous purity. Remember, the milk is the infinite ocean of purity and clarity, the infinite consciousness. And the rice is the nourishment of the earth. And the sugar and the honey and the ghee. Ghee is the illumination, and the honey is the nourishment, and the sugar is the sweetness. And now we've made this pice, this rice pudding, which is the nourishment filling the earth with the purity of consciousness, so it nourishes and gives you sweetness and empowers you to do the best. So Dan, the objective is that we will give this offering to the fire for all the gods. We give one portion in the forest for all the animals. Hey Prakriti, hey divine nature, all the beings of the forest come and partake and celebrate and nourish, and you please give blessings to our child too. And then the third portion goes to the child. Om Pranaya Swaha, Om Apanaya Swaha, Om Vyanaya Swaha, Om Udanaya Swaha, Om Samanaya Swaha. These are the 5 offerings that we make to you, child, for your first meal. And please remember, at every meal, we are filling your 5 vital breaths. These are the avenues of ingress and egress to the body. It comes inside from the Annamaya Kosh to the Pranamaya Kosh. And from the Pranamaya Kosh to the Manamaya Kosh. From the consistency of matter, of atoms, to the consistency of air. You can feel it, but you can't touch it. You can't see it. From the consistency of air to the consistency of thought. Manamaya. From the Manamaya Kosh to the Vijnanamaya Kosh, Tejas Tattva. This is Tejas Sweetie. The illumination of light, we have dissolved all of the thoughts into the light of wisdom, and only we can perceive is the light. And from the Vijnanamaya Kosh to the Anandamaya Kosh, to the Sat Chit Ananda, the true being, infinite consciousness, full of bliss. And that's the prana, apana, dhyana, Udana, Sama. the 5 vital breaths, and we are giving 1 spoonful to our child for each breath, and let that child move from the Annamaya coast to the Pranamaya coast, from the Pranamaya coast to the Manamaya coast, from the Manamaya coast to Vijnanamaya coast, from Vijnanamaya coast to Anandamaya coast. Sat Chit Ananda. Please start your career as an eater in this world with such a bhava. That's our prayer to you, my child. That's our blessing to you, our child. This is our bhavana. This is our attitude towards life. Dan, that's why we do save some of the prasad. We divide the prasad. We give a portion to the fire, a portion to all of life, and a portion to our child. Nanda?
Further, why do we evoke prana to food? Can you speak of the connection and why we transfer prana to food for the child?
We are giving, prana means breath. Prana means the life force. Prana means infinite energy. We are giving you our prana. We're putting this prana into the food that you get life. You get breath. You get, it's like your Jivan Shakti. Your Shakti. That Shakti is going to be your companion through life. It's going to energize your body. It's going to empower your mind. It's going to inspire you to the nobility of all that you propose to accomplish in this lifetime. And that's why we're infusing prana into the food. Nanda?
Can you give a suggestion for quite helpful time during the day to perform any of these rituals?
Most of these ceremonies should be performed in the morning, at least before the midday arati. Now they can be performed in the evening, before the evening arati, but it's mostly common to make this a major focus of your day, so that you would do your nitya karma in the early morning, and you would do this special karma in the mid-morning, and then you would perform your midday duties according to the scripture as well. So but it could be according to astrological calculations. You could do it according to the time of the tithi, which may be when the moon changes from one phase into another. Nanda?
Should the bake be set by hand, or is it okay to use utensils like spoons?
That's according to the custom of the family. The scripture doesn't say anything about that. However, because it's rice pudding and it's a little bit wet, in fact, it's not tight rice pudding, it's really liquidy. You might do better with a spoon because it'll make less mess. Nanda? I will make no such advice. They will understand according to their own customs, according to their own family. I would say that scripturally we begin with rice pudding and we move to certain kinds. I'm sure there's different kinds of fruits and purees, and then to very slowly we get into soups, and then we get into vegetables, and then quite naturally it evolves into from vegetables to fruits, and you can take it from there and decide at your own time.
We start rice pudding because rice pudding is a nectar, only Amrit food.
Mother says that the rice pudding is Amrit. It's the nectar of immortal devotion. And so we start with rice pudding so that the child is grounded and founded in the nectar of devotion. Nanda?
Can you expound on the different items to show for a child? Is there a name to
You know what? Generally, we take some gold or wealth or money. We take a lump of earth. We take a book and a pen, and we put them on this plate, and we show the plate to the child, and the child generally will grapple towards the plate, and one item will be the first item that the child selects. And oftentimes the first thing that she will want to do is put it in her mouth. However, we won't want the child to eat the dirt, or we'll prevent them from eating. We can give her a little more rice pudding instead, and the child will gravitate towards one item first and then maybe a second item. So you can tell whether the child will have a basic propensity, a sanskara directed towards whatever, whether it be arts or literature or business or commerce, whether it be medicine or law. We can determine sort of the basic nature of the child. This ceremony has no specific name. It's just a custom. It is in the scripture. It's not called by a name. It just says in the scripture, take the tali and put these items on it, and then let the child select.
I did touch Gita.
Mother touched the Gita first, and you see, she became imbued with scripture. She lives in scripture. Nanda?
Dad is asking, are you saying that the 5 koshas and the 5 jhanas are the same or line up together?
The 5 doshas.
Koshas.
Koshas. Yes, the 5 koshas, yes, they do line up together. They do. So you have prana, apana, dhyana, udana, samana. Nanda?
Africa is asking, if rice pudding is the nectar of pure devotion and the baby's first food, is it a food that we should continue to serve the baby and ourselves our entire life? Should we eat it with a different attitude? And how much is too much?
How much is too much? Each of you will understand as you see your child's nature. If you want them to be a little less active, then you'll take a little less sugar goes into the rice pudding. Rice pudding, Mother used to call the rice pudding slow poison. When devotees would come to the temple for the first time, she would make sure they had a bowl of rice pudding. And then afterwards, they would always come back at the same time for the same prasad. However, you may want to vary the diet of your child. Now, I am a child who grew up on one kind of food and one kind of food only, and I am accustomed to eating the same food at the same time every day. So I don't crave different tastes or different foods. Each one of us is a little bit different, so that you will prepare according to your understanding of the nature of your child. There is no set rule about that. Nanda?
Swamiji, there's a request for the rice pudding recipe in the book asking.
Very good. I hope that you will write that. Very good. We will be very pleased to share that rice pudding recipe.
Swamiji, we are done with the questions on this topic for now.
Very good. Let's move on to the churakaran. And the churakaran is the first haircut. And in the first year, the third year, or the 5th year, or according to the family tradition, which in many families is when the first teeth start to come in, they have a ceremony called churakaran. And churakaran means cutting the hair. It's your first haircut. So on an appropriate day, having completed nitya karma, sankalpa, shanti, swasti, vachan, the father will worship Ganesha, the shorash matrika, they'll do the vriddha shrad, they'll light 3 ghee 3 lamps and take the sankalpa with the mantra. Adyetyadi amuka gotrasya Shree amuka deva shama churaskara nakarmoni kartabye yata sambhava gotra shaka namabhyo brahmanebhyo yato pakari ratna thani tripto pariyat kanya mutsrije. It means I'm going to cut your hair, kid. It's just a polite way of saying it. And he takes the sankalpa and he enkindles the fire in the Havan Kund, starts the yajna fire, and he performs Gayatri Homa. The mother will wear new cloth and place the child on her lap on the north side of the Havan Kund. And the father will say the mantra, Om Agni Tvam Satyamamasi. And the father will say the mantras. Om Savitra Pasuta Devya Apa Udantu Te Tanung Dirgamayushvaya Varchase. And that means I'm blessing you, my child, with a long life filled with bliss and filled with strength and filled with purity. And we cut the hair because the hair is the protective covering, and the hair is the vanity that covers our modesty. And the hair says, when we take away the hair, we have no ego, we have no attachment, we have no vanity, we have no concern about how we look. Is my hair combed? And we have no protection. I come to you completely vulnerable. I say to you, God, I am completely vulnerable. I accept whatever you're going to give to me. And we're cutting this hair to create that vulnerability, that surrender, which allows God's will to take place. And then, sitting at the Havan Kund, the father will chant the mantra, Om Jaina Pavat Savita Shurena Samasya Ragyo Varunashya Vishwan Tena Te Brahmano Dathapati the Mantrasya Yushang Jadas Prishtan Yasad. And he's saying to him, hey, I'm giving you the blessings of devotion and equilibrium and infinite knowledge. You take this and inculcate this into the principles of your life. And then he starts singing the Gayatri mantra while someone else, usually the barber, will cut the hair, and the father will sing Gayatri mantra and make ahuti into the fire. And then the barber often shaves the head so it's completely clean. So now we're in our cleanest, purest, most vulnerable status, without vanity, without any place to hide. We're completely unclothed. And then we'll mix some dough with water, atta with water, flour with water, into a dough. And like we're going to make a bread. And you take a lump of that dough about this big, about a good-sized ball. We call these a tikka. We used to build the fire in the forest, and then in the ashes below the fire, we'd put a lump of dough about like this, like a big softball, and you'd stick it in the fire and cover it with ashes and build the fire on top of it. And when it was time, you took away the fire, dug out the bread, slapped off the ashes, and it was called tikka. The sweetest kind of bread that you could eat. And sadhus would eat that with whatever vegetable they could find. Mostly in those situations we ate lingra. It's a jungle fern that you find in the Himalayas. So you'd have a jungle ferns and a big sweet ball of bread. made for a delicious meal. So you take the dough and then you take the hair and press it into the dough. And then you fold it over on itself and roll it again into a ball. And now you have this big ball of dough with hair inside. And now you wash the head of the child with warm water. Gangecha Jamna Cheba. Kodabari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Snanartam Pratigrihatam, and we clean the head, and now the head is it's in its most pure form, and a father puts his hands on the head, and he says Om Kashyapashya Triyayusham Om Yadevanam Triyayusham Tadem Bhaktastu Triyayusham. And now he's got blessings, 3 lifetimes filled with bliss from Kashyap Muni, 3 lifetimes from all the gods and goddesses. Tannoastu, Tatayastu, Triyayusham, let that be unto you, Triyayusham. And we give you blessings of 3 lifetimes filled with bliss. And take the flour and the hair to the river, or a lake, or a pond, or a stream, or any kind of flowing water, especially ones with fish, who sing the Gayatri Mantra and make Visarjan. And the fish will come and eat the dough, and they will probably take in most of the hair as well. And then the hair came from the nature, it goes back to the nature, it becomes protein for the nature, it sustains the nature, and it becomes recycled energy into the nature. I'm giving my goodness, I'm coming to you in all humility to give you my ego as nourishment. And that's the symbolism. You'll want to give dakshina to the Brahman, to the priest, to the guru. You got to pay the barber. You want to say pranam, and make purnahuti at the fire, make your offerings, and that completes the Churakaran ceremony. And let's see if there are any questions about Churakaran. Rami is asking, what is the significance of hair in Sanatana Dharma? And we just spoke about that. It means, with hair, I've got something to hide. I don't have a lot, but I've got something to hide.
And also, Kesh, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh.
Right. In Sanskrit, the hair is called Kesh. And Ka means Brahma, the cause. A means Vishnu, the circumstance, and Sha means Shiva, and Keshav, Kesh means, the hair means Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are sitting with me. So it is referred to a lot, grabbing Devi by the hair in Chandi. Remember, Dhumralochan said, hey, if you don't come to me, my master, willingly, I'm going to grab you by the hair. It means I'm taking your protection and turning it against you as a weapon. It becomes the handle by which I'm going to drag you against your will. And of course, Draupadi being grabbed by the hair. Dushashan grabbed Draupadi by the hair. So the hair is, of course, our protection, our humility, our place to hide, where we have laja, we have modesty. We have, when we give up our modesty and we give up all of our places to hide, we give up our protection, we have full trust and full faith and full confidence. What is the significance of donating hair to a temple? Well, many times they sell it. But oftentimes, are able to use the hair, and they resell it, and they make wigs out of it, they make braids out of it, they make falls out of it. And so it's a donation, and in Tripoli, I'm told they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from the sale of hair left by pilgrims. Now, but most often the pilgrims come to the temple and they say, I want to make a donation of my ego. I want to give away my modesty. I want to give away my protection. I want to give away my vanity. And so the pilgrims make a vow that if such and such happens to me, then I will be able to donate my hair. And then oftentimes they have special barbers at the temples who are there to cut the hair and preserve the hair and keep the hair for the temple treasuries. Many times people offer their hair at temples, and we offered some cut pieces of hair in the Ganga. We gave some pieces of hair to the Murtis. We said, hey, Murtis, deities of our temple, would you please be the manifestation of my love for God? I am giving to you my protection. I am giving to you my place of refuge. I am giving to you my modesty so that I can cover myself and not feel I won't feel self-conscious. I won't be aware of my appearance. I won't worry about how I look or how I interact with the community. So that is the reason for our donating our hair, or other people donating their hair. Why is it that women are not supposed to cut their hair according to Hindu tradition? Well, it's not necessarily Hindu tradition, it is local tradition. There is nothing in the scriptures about cutting your hair or not cutting your hair. This is a family tradition. This is a community tradition. It is a local tradition that people cut. They don't cut their hair, women, because the longer the hair, the greater their modesty, and that is what it symbolizes. And what are the rules for cutting hair for sannyasis? Are they not supposed to cut hair at all? And well, I'll tell you, it's very different between sannyasis and vairagis. Everyone generally cuts the hair upon taking the vow of sannyas. And they may or they may not, but oftentimes they do, because when you take the vow of sannyas, you perform your own funeral. And at the time of funeral, you, in respect of those who you are mourning, you remove all the hair so that you have perfectly clean, you're perfectly pure, you have no place to hide, no modesty, no shame, no concern about your outward appearance, totally surrendered and accepting the will of God. And this being the prevailing attitude, then we get to, we cut the hair. So when you take sannyas, oftentimes you cut the hair. Some sadhus say it not necessary. You keep your hair. Among vairagis and sannyasis, there are different traditions. So you see someone like Swami Ramkripaluji, who has 4 or 5 meters of japa. He's had it since he was a young child. He never cut his hair from being initiated as a vairagi. So, and does it apply differently to men and women and in different sampradayas? It's an individual election at this time. It is not mandated by any sampradaya. It's an individual election. Ambika asks, what is the significance of a first haircut compared to any other haircut? Wow. Generally, Ambika, when the child gets hair cut for the first time, she is a little bit intimidated. She's a little bit scared and doesn't know what's going to happen or what will be the effects of cutting the hair. So in order to celebrate this first experience of hair cutting and coming to God in all purity and offering herself in all purity, in all clarity, in all modesty, without any hesitation or shame or any place to hide, then this is the significance of the first haircut. And generally, in subsequent haircuts, they don't actually shave the head. They just cut the hair off or buzz it off or cut it. In my case, they didn't do a very good job. Does one need to keep a special awareness when cutting hair? You need to keep a special awareness all the time. That's the object of our lives, is to maintain a special awareness. Ambika, everything you do is holy. Don't walk through a door without saying the name of God. Don't put a key in a lock without saying the name of God. Don't turn on a camera or a microphone without saying the name of God. Don't do anything without God. And then we get to live with God.
God made us and we make God.
Mother says God makes us and we will make God. Our remembrance empowers God. And so, yes, it is very important to maintain a special awareness when you're cutting your hair. Why do we celebrate the first haircut? It is a rite of passage. It is an initiation into purity, clarity, cleanliness, holiness. You become take the first steps towards living without modesty, in all humility, without anything to hide. Do we have any things similar for cutting the nails? Not in Scripture, but for us, we do. We have something special for everything we do. Whether it's answering the phone, I've heard so many people answer the phone. Radhe Radhe. Jai Shree Ram. And we have use the Gayatri mantra. If you have no other mantra, use Gayatri and celebrate that you cut your nails. Ambika asked, in America we have stories about the tooth fairy. It's true. Are there similar children's stories in India? We've got more fairies around America than we do in India. But India's got devas and devis and saints and sadhus and rishis. Especially on the West Coast, I think there are more fairies than on the East Coast. Is it okay to tell these kinds of stories to our young children? Absolutely. We want our children to connect with the other worlds. That this is the only reality is not a position that we want to promote. We want our children to know that there are saints and sadhus and mystical beings. We want them to have curiosity and intuition and use that intuition to connect with their guardian angels and their tooth fairies and the devas and the devis and Satchit Ananda. I don't think that there's any harm in talking about the beings of the celestial worlds, the Gandharvas and the Apsaras and the Devas and the various beings. Bharati asks, who should cut the baby's hair the first time, and does baby get shaved? And the answer is, if you can, have a barber do it. Believe me, so many people came to me and said, would you cut our baby's hair for the first time? And it's one of the most thankless tasks that I do. I will certainly recite the mantras, but to actually physically cut the hair is not so much fun, and to do the shaving is even more difficult. What is the significance of a shaved head? I think we've covered that sufficiently. What do we do with the hair from the first cut? We put it in the water. And those are our questions. Let's see if there are any other questions about Churakarn. Nanda?
Yes, Swamiji. Ravi, question from Ravi, North Carolina.
Namaste, Ravi. Namaste, Tejaswini.
What is the significance of stick on the back of the head that Brahmin boys have a small ponytail or something?
Shika.
It's at the shika, we call it a tika.
Shika.
It's a shika, and the shika is the top of the crown of the head. They hope that God is going to pull them up by their shika. And they'll just pull it, they leave a little handle there so that they know the spot where God can grab hold of them and pull them right up. Nanda?
Question from Devi from Atlanta.
Namaste, Devi Ma. Namaste, Angel.
How old is the child when this tag ceremony is performed?
We discussed it could be in the first year, the third year, or the fifth year, or when the first teeth come in. So those are some of the traditional timings for performing this ceremony, Devi. But it could be according to your family's tradition. So other various families in various districts of India already have a family tradition of performing the Churakarn. Nanda?
My dad is asking, what is the jungle fern? Is there any name for it?
The what?
The jungle fern that you refer to?
Oh, the name is Lingra. We call them here in America fiddlehead ferns. And they are ubiquitous throughout Kumaon and Garhwal. The two districts of the Himalayas where I spent a lot of time, and they are really a part of the local people's diet.
And also kind of asparagus.
It's kind of asparagus. Nanda?
Dad is asking, does the symbolism of hair change from modesty and humility when a sadhu grows long jata in honor of Shiva?
Well, sometimes it does change. It becomes, as a jata, it becomes a jata dutta sabayutam. The hair at that point becomes a symbol of your renunciation, and the length of the hair determines your renunciation. How long you've been in this bhavana, how long have you been in maintaining this attitude, so that it becomes a symbol of renunciation in the fact that you are devoted to Shiva or to Ram or to Devi. Those are the three, Durga, Shiva, and Ram are the three deities who sadhus wear jata. Nanda?
Monica is asking, is there any difference in a man cutting his beard as opposed to cutting his hair?
In a man's, what? Repeat, please.
Is there a difference in a man cutting his beard as opposed to cutting his hair?
Is there a difference? Well, probably a 1-year-old child will not have a beard to cut. So the ceremony would not be performed for children. However, some sadhus and some sects and some pradayas of sadhus wear beards. Some of them wear long beards. Some of them tie the beard. I, of course, have burned my beard in the yajna fire so many times that I have to tie it up all the time, or I risk singeing it again. Others are clean shaven. And it's just according to the tradition of your guru kul. the family of gurus from which you emanated. Primarily, most of the South Indian gurus are clean-shaven, and many of them shave their heads as well. Most of the East Indian and West Indian gurus do wear beards. And the Sikh gurus and some of the Bengali gurus wear very long beards. They don't cut the beard or the hair. And then there are others who trim up and make themselves fashionable or presentable in any way they can. Nanda?
That is actually after the Annaprashan ceremony, when we perform the arati, do we perform to the Ishta Devata?
Absolutely. We perform to the Ishta Devata, we perform to all the Devas and Devis in our temple, and if we can make the child sit still on the lap of mother, then we perform arati to mother and child as well. Nanda?
The question from some earlier classes.
Yes, please.
That is asking, I can see that with these ceremonies, especially the Jap Karma, the baby might be screaming and crying. How should one perform the ceremony with these distractions? And should they wait until the baby is peaceful?
No, it won't be possible to wait until the baby is peaceful. What your challenge is to create such an atmosphere of peace that it makes the baby peaceful. So if you find ringing loud bells is a distraction to the baby and makes the baby cry, stop ringing the bell. This is the baby's puja. If you find that giving sweetness, giving flowers, giving the rice pudding is something that makes the baby peaceful and content, then by all means do it more. The challenge of a good pujari is to be able to adjust and adapt the puja to the needs of this congregation who are involved in the puja. If the baby is not able to sit, if he's causing all kinds of problems, then perform the baby's part of the puja and come back and do the rest later. Let the baby eat his food and go away. Let mother take the baby to the side and calm the baby and bring the child back when the baby is calm. So as a pujari, we are given the pujas. And then we have to take from the puja what works for our circumstances and put that into the context of the environment in which we find ourselves. And then we improvise. It's just like any other musician, Dan. We're going to improvise what is appropriate in this puja for this circumstance, for this time, for this place, for these people. And that's how we decide how to do the puja. Nanda?
Amrita is asking, there seems to be different beliefs about whether or not to allow yourself to be photographed. Is it okay to photograph the baby?
These are not scriptural injunctions. Ambika, this has nothing to do with scriptures or Vedas or wisdom or knowledge. These are local customs. These are local traditions, and most of them are made up on the moment, according to the ideas of the people who are in charge. So I would suggest that it's okay to show the baby, to photograph the baby, okay to photograph the mother, and okay to photograph the ceremony, so that you can show to your child as she grows up what processes you perform to inspire within her divinity. And then you can show her how it was done, and if you have a nice video of it, you can show her what the attitude was, what the feeling was, what the emotion was, and prevail upon her that to the best of her capacity, when it's her turn, she can do the same thing for her children. Om Sang Saraswati Namaha. Namaste.
Namaste, everybody.